Start with chapter number 12 from your economics book of grade 12, and the name of the chapter is Theory of Income and Employment. And today we're going to start from aggregate demand and its components. According to your reduced syllabus, we are going to go through the parts which is included in your syllabus. So the very first part, that is the basic model of income determination. This is the beginning of the chapter which is not included in your syllabus. For that we are just skipping that part and starting from 12.3 from your book, that is the aggregate demand and its components. Simple Keynesian model of income determination states that an economist's total income in the short run depends on the desired aggregate demand or aggregate spending of the people. The more the desired demand of the people, the more will be the amount of goods and services that can be sold in the economy. The chief feature of Keynesian theory is that it explains the level of income and employment irrespective of whether the income, or you can say whether that economy is operating at full employed level or at unemployed level. So aggregate demand is the total amount of goods and services which is demanded in the economy. Now it refers to the desire of intending or planning, you can say, to get the products. Now here we will find the desire are of two kinds, that is, one is desire and the other is the effective desire. So desire means ex ante demand and effective desire is post ante demand. So ex ante demand means when we are planning that I want to get this products when I go to the market. This is a desire. I'm just planning out, not buying anything. Okay, that is a desire. Though I'm having the purchasing power, you must remember this. What is demand? When it is having the purchasing power, certain amount of money I'm having with me, so I am planning out that these are the things or these are the items when I once go to the market I'm going to buy. As I'm planning out, this is ex ante demand. And effective demand are those demands when the person is actually going to the market and buying the products. Those are called the ex ante or ex post demand. This is effective demand. That means the desire to buy something is ex ante, and actually buying it with the purchasing power, as I'm having the purchasing power, I'm getting the products. Maybe before going to the market I thought of buying 10 pens. Okay, 10 pen I'm thinking of buying, that is ex ante. When I'm going to the market, I find that the price of the pen are very low, so I can get 20 pen. So I bought 20 pens. That is ex post demand. Okay, so first whatever planning we are doing, that is ex ante, and the actual thing which we are buying is the ex post demand. Next we are having propensity to consumption function. Once again we'll come to the Keynesian theory of consumption function. Shows the functional relationship between the desired consumption and expenditure and income. Thus the relationship between consumption and income is called consumption function. Propensity of consume shows the relationship between the levels of income and consumption. Okay, to explain consumption function or propensity of consume, economists have two technical concepts, namely the average propensity to consume and marginal propensity to consume. What is average propensity to consume? That is APC, in short we say APC. The average propensity to consume refers to the proportion of income devoted to consumption. When a worker is working and earning certain amount of money, the total money is never spent. Certain amount of money goes for savings, as because we all believe that when we will grow old we are not able to earn more. Certain amount, maybe it's low, maybe it's huge amount of money, or maybe it's a very few amount of money, it doesn't matter, little money or more money, we are just saving it aside. Okay, so the amount of money a person is earning and the amount of money that person is spending, that is getting determined here according to the propensity of consumption. Next, what is the average? Average means the amount of money we are earning and the amount of money we are spending. That is the average one. Here you can see in your book given as APC is equal to C by Y. C means consumption and Y means income. So here diagram is also given in table number 12.1. We can see when the income of the person is 1000, the consumption is 900. So 100 went for savings. So what is the average propensity savings or of consumption? That is APC 0.9. 0.9 of his income is going for the savings, right? 0.9 is his average APC. Next we are having marginal propensity of consumption or consume. We can say that is marginal propensity of consume refers to the ratio of change in consumption to change in income. That is MPC is equal to delta C by delta Y. Delta C refers to the total consumption and delta Y refers to the change in income. Okay, so let us see how does it happen in again 12.1 table. So when the income is increasing, you can see first the income is 1000, now it is coming to 1100. 100 got incremented. As there is 100 increment, you can see the consumption also got increased with rupees 80. Before it was 900, now it became 980. And the savings, you can see there is an increment in the savings also. 120 is getting saved now. So what is the MPC here? That is 0.8 is the MPC here, right? So marginal propensity of consumption, again I am telling you marginal, this word means with additional unit. What is the change? That means additional unit here is the income. With the additional income we are finding there is change in the consumption. Consumption is also increasing, savings is also increasing. This is marginal. And average means with the original income what is the amount of expenditure, amount of savings. That is the average propensity of consumption. Hopefully you understood. Thank you.